The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and the Ice Super Chase gets underway tonight. Feature race number 19, just a couple of minutes away with the Ice Super Speedway.com Racing Series Season 6 Championship on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Happy to still have you with us as we roll into the second part of tonight's Friday night double feature. The Run Car Truck Tour penultimate race has come and gone, and we move to the round of 6 at Ice Super Speedway competition. 16 championship hopefuls, now down to just 6 names, with 3 races left to go on the season. This race and next week going to be determining factors to send half the remaining drivers home, and the 3 that end up standing at the end of that all going to go to Daytona for a winner-take-all championship showdown in 2 weeks' time. We'll talk more in depth about the championship as the night goes on. First, I want to welcome you into the LSRTV broadcast booth. As always, myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Andy Kessler, and as well accompanied by our LSRTV producer, Cisco Scarvuza, in the production trailer. Andy, ready to rock and roll, and a little bit of change of pace, per se, for this contest tonight. Going to go from the scheduled B and A main format straight into the features. So instead of a 47-lap A main, with the lack of the B main tonight, going to bump that up. We're going to have 60 laps at 160 miles start to finish tonight, and a little bit of a short sprint race here from Talladega, Alabama. It should be a thrilling one if the last round at Daytona was any indication of how intense these chase races are start to finish.
No, you're absolutely right, especially the one we had last week where we saw 10 drivers of the 16 that qualified themselves in the chase. 10 of them went home. So only 6 drivers remain in the chase for this championship, and this week and next week, that much more important, Evan, is win, win, win. The 2 winners out of these next 2 races, if they happen to be one of those 6 drivers, will have their automatic bid to that season finale race in just about 3 weeks' time. So a lot is on stake in this race. Not only a solid finish, but a win is much needed by all those top 6.
And the 6 names that are going to fight for a championship as you take a look at the Ice Super Speedway Chase Grid: Casey Malone, Josh Ball, Andrew Berger, Sean Bounty, Frank Basilica, and Christian Peterson. A win in the last round was good enough to punch your ticket to this one. It is not good enough to give you any point advantage. 2,000 points apiece for those 6 drivers. There is no advantage into these 2 races. And the one way to guarantee that you're going to be into the championship fight itself is going to be to get a win here tonight, get a win next week, and you'll head straight through to Daytona. The drivers, and there's going to be at least 4 of them, assuming that your 6 chase drivers are able to get the wins, and everybody else, including 10 championship-worthy drivers that were sent home last week, it's going to be their job to make sure that they play spoiler and take home the checkered flag here tonight. All the drivers, though, that have moved on into the round of 6 have been a victory lane on the season. Only twice are the 2 drivers that are looking to become the first multi-time Ice Super Speedway champions through 5 races of this championship. 5 seasons, rather. We've had 5 different champions: Basilia, Chaburko, Flag, Ball, and Merchant, seasons 1 through 5. We're going to take the next step in crowning and handing out a 6th championship as the Talladega round gets set to get underway right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. But before we drop the hammer and go green flag racing, we'll go trackside for opening ceremonies and Jaden Berkey with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And on that note, the qualifying session has concluded. The cars are headed trackside to take to the grid. So let's take a look at tonight's LSRTV starting lineup for feature race number 19 and a race 1 of 2 on a round of 6, the Talladega round of the Super Chase. Starting in the front row and in the best seat in the house, the number 7 Chevrolet of Rodney Wofford. Another name, and a big name at that has been eliminated from competition. And he looks to pick up the second trip to victory lane on the season, and here tonight at Talladega. And he's going to start for the best possible position. Number 7 Chevrolet with 51.842, going to roll from pole position. Paul Cervic going to join him on the front row. These spectacular qualifying efforts for the Oreo Chevrolet continue tonight. He'll roll from second. Mark Jorgensen Jr. going to start tonight in third. Tom Mustak is fourth, and Matt Quake in fifth.
Rod Flagg in the 26 will roll off 6th. 7th goes to Kelly Dahl. Ray Rittenauer in that 87 machine will start in the 8th position. Row number 5, the inside, that's Corey Henry in the 12, and Jason Altman's in the 51, starts 10th.
P11 tonight, going to be Josh Balls, number 48, Cobalt Chevrolet. Data Osborne will roll from the number 12 spot. Alex Hallinar back in 13th, a 14th place for your other championship hopeful, the number 94 to Frank Basilia, and 15th is Christian Peterson.
Another one of our championship contenders in the 34, Sean Bounty, will start 16th, 17th to Ramon Evans. Casey Malone, another championship contender deep in the field, he'll start 18th, 19th to Andrew Berger, yet another championship driver, and Brandon Chaburko will round out your top 20.
And then to round out the field tonight, Glenn Hedrick back in 20th, Jared Haggerty 23rd, and Shane McEachin back in 24th. That's a look at your LSRTV starting grid for feature race number 19. The lights are off on top of the pace car. We head to 3 and 4 for the final time, and then we'll go racing 60 laps, 160 miles in Talladega, Alabama, and in just a little bit under an hour's time or so, somebody might know that they're going to be racing for a championship in 2 weeks' time. And on the flip side of that, somebody might know that they're going to have to win next week or going to have a very big uphill battle into that final cumulative event on the season next Friday right here on LSRTV. We're ready to rock and roll from Talladega Super Speedway. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down to the wayside. 18 races completed on the season, and the third to last here tonight at Talladega. 6 names remain in the championship hunt as we go chase racing from Talladega. Green flag in the air.
Very cautious start to this one here. Everybody able to get up to speed, on their way up to speed, I should say, as they all bunch up both lanes, top and bottom right now, and try to force their way and work their way through what they can and just try to get up to speed, ride, try to log some of these laps early on and then make your moves, especially those guys we mentioned during the starting grid that are deeper in the field, guys down around the 15th to 20th area that are the chase contenders here in this one. So far, though, Rodney Wofford from the pole position has been able to lead the way right now through 3 and 4. He's got that 88, Mark Jorgensen Jr., giving them push off 4.
And Lap number 1 going to come to a close as we head off of that final turn, and the draft now almost fully up to speed. Race leader Ronnie Wofford in the clean air, and in fact, funny enough, the guy at the front of the field, well, he's got the gas all the way down, and it's the guys in the middle of the pack lifting. He leads lap number 1. He's probably going to be the slowest car on the racetrack at most points in this race, but he comes across the start-finish line at 196 miles an hour, and we are officially underway from Dega. 2 car length advantage to the inside. The 88 Jorgensen, the assist to get the 7 out in front, but he doesn't plan on sitting around and being submissive for much longer. He'll jump to the outside. He wants to push from Paul Servant. We're back nose to nose.
Not surprised to see that 88 going for it here early on. Likes to be up in the lead, likes to be in the mix all race long, and finds himself right there. Didn't waste any time now to jump up to Paul Servant. Going to get the push and the advantage now off of turn number 4. Looking for what could be lap number 1 lead, but the 7 battling hard back now with the 89 of Matt Quick now on his back bumper. He'll lead this lap once again here to complete lap number 2 on the night, and so far so good. Some 3 wide action a little further back, and a lot of chase drivers involved. Casey Malone, the 48 of Josh Ball, and how about Frank Basilia stuck on the outside lane right now. Lots of action right around some of our chasers deep in the field.
Yeah, your only past champions left on the chase grid, the 48, the 94. They were talking on the radio and as we went on the grid about dropping back, and well, they did drop back. They're 13th position on the racetrack, but they're 3 wide. That's just where all the fighting's going on. They can't the racetrack, but I don't think the 94 are really concerned with losing this battle at the moment. They may be trying to draw back. 60-lap race, plenty of time, get back in the pack, especially after a calamity-filled truck race that they were on this very racetrack just less than now an hour ago. There was a lot of contact in that one, and this is the first time that they've been out with the new build. And these brand new Cup cars, the 2016 Gen 6s, are on the iRacing service. If you take a look and spot a Ford Fusion, that brand new 2016 body style, and it's also the first time these guys are out on track in a race with a brand new digital dashboard. So a lot to get used to. Conservative early for most of the drivers.
Yeah, and we're looking on board right now, the 34, looking back to the 94, Frank Basilia in that Ford, so definitely a different look here. So, a little jumble up towards the front of the field. Osborne have to jump out of line. That's going to push it 3 wide now. Tom Moustakis to the outside lane. Christian Peterson, Casey Malone going to go up there and help. He's going to leave that 8 of Osborne now all by himself in that middle lane. Rod Flagg looks like he's going to pull up and try to help him out a little bit. Going to choose wisely, though. Drop back down to that middle lane as the 8 now continues to lose some spots here. He starts to fall back now outside the top 10.
Yeah, the 8 machine started in P12, but he made a good run forward early. He's falling back. The 92 also go to wrong direction. 3 wide on the outside. That's Casey Malone, the 94. Remember, he was up there with Chaburko. He now finds himself in the middle lane after seceding on the outside, and the 92 going to have to do just that, jump back in line. 2 wide for most of the field. The 26 Rod Flag, couple of car lengths back, scored a 9th the last time by the start-finish on it. Thought about going to the inside or behind Rittenauer. He'll jump back up in front of Tom Moustakis, and it is a lot of momentum in favor of the outside. Here comes Jorgensen. He jumped up early in front of the 4 car. They weren't able to do much with it at that time, slid back a couple of car lengths. They're back, and it's nose to nose down the Alabama gang, back straight away.
Yeah, weren't able to get the run they wanted to. Paul Servant actually about maybe a quarter of a car length off of them. Just that gap, that little bit of gap, doesn't give that run the outside lane needs down the straightaway. So that'll move them at least even up with them right now. You can see the 4 much better off of turn number 4 to his back bumper. We'll actually surge that 88 now up to the point here, and might just have ourselves a different leader this time by. How about the 88 now? Mark Jorgensen Jr. at the top of the board. Looking to go down to the bottom. Not quite clear, though. Wofford battling hard back.
Not able to get the clearance, obviously, that he wants it. It's funny because you battle so hard on the outside just to jump down in line, just to have to wait for the next guy on the outside to come after you. It's a constant game of chess up front, but he's got it this time. And down to turn number 3, it'll take to lap number 7. And Jorgensen has had a nose in front before, so he's already taken care of the bonus point aspect of it. But he's in the race lead. New race leader, lap number 7, the 88 car to the point. The nationwide Chevrolet leads us off the final turn.
It leads for the time being. Now the top side having to regroup basically to get back up into the mix here as the 4 Paul Servant actually going to have to fall back just a bit to Jason Altman's the separation between them two when Jorgensen went to the point has brought them back now, battling for around that third position. Matt Quick has it right now on that bottom side. Doing a good job, quietly. Very strong qualifying effort for that 89, and he's been right there in the mix all night long so far in the opening 8 laps of this race. And you can see that top side, how jumbled up there. Tom Stockis right up there to push that 51 to the 4. They're going to make up some of that ground before they enter turn number 3. They'll stall out a little bit. If they can time it just right off 4, you'll see that 4 now get his run that he needs to get up towards the front.
And I mentioned Paul Servant with a good qualifying effort there on the grid, because he has been, I think, one of the more consistent qualifiers we have seen all season long. Again, a championship competitor up until his elimination after the round of 18. Currently scored 12th in the overall championship. So while your top 6 move on and they bump up to the next round, the remaining positions of chase drivers, 7th through 16th in the championship standings, they still sit well above the drivers that didn't qualify for the chase, 17th on back, and they're going to fight amongst themselves for those positions as this championship continues on. So just because you're knocked out of this, you could still get up to a P7 in the championship standings. Might not be as enticing as maybe being able to run out a long season while the championship may be over with for you, be able to get a top 3, get a top 5, but 7th is still up for grabs for those 10 drivers that went home as of last week, and they're going to be able to continue to fight. Not only do they want to play spoiler, but the more points you could accumulate, obviously, at the end of the season, you want to be able to get your best point showing possible by the time the year is up. And that time, Servant outside of the racetrack. Again, we talk about sometimes how difficult it is for people to pass on the outside. You don't have to pass the guy to win the race. You just have to do exactly what that was across the start-finish on it and have a nose in front. And by 2 100ths, he did so. But the inside again pulls strong into center 1 and 2. And we head down the back straight away, 3 wide. Not sure how I feel about the call. The 4 all alone. The 2 cars behind him go topside. And if the 4 can get support before he gets cleared, it might have been a bad move from Oatmans.
Yeah, it might have been a bad move, but he had a great run as well, so he had to go somewhere. It was either that or pile drive the rear end of that 4 car. How about the 7 of Wofford now jumping out to join up with that top side? Now 4 of Paul Servant. He gives that 7 the push he needs. Gets him that lap lead that time, not by much, but he's able to get the job done, and that's what Wofford was waiting for, was that top lane to get it. And now we put that driver in that position, the 4 Paul Servant, that every single opportunity he gets, once he pushes this 7 up, they're going to fall back, and then he's going to end up having to deal with another driver possibly jumping out in front of him. And that's kind of the game you play, being the leader of that outside lane. If you can't get it or stay up with these guys like we see right now, you can see him falling back to the 3rd spot now. That's exactly what's going to happen now. They're going to get a run, then look for that 88 to jump to the top.
Yeah, that's the 2nd car that the 4 has pushed to the race lead tonight. He has gotten a bonus point, in all fairness. Again, he led a lap, but he hasn't been able to get clear. Maybe getting clear is not maybe the best decision. It might almost be better to wait on the outside of the racetrack, because I don't think anybody besides your Polson or Wofford was able to maintain that inside running position for the opening 7 laps. And in the last 5, we've had that position change 3 times. The 88 back to the outside once again in front of the 4. Paul Servant is doing a lot of work. Better make sure he keeps those temperatures down over the course of the night.
Yeah, that's the only downfall of that, is being the guy that's always pushing these guys up to the front. It's the fact we've seen, I think it was Chris Bassini maybe possibly last week, or no, it was Shane McKeechin in the 28. Happened to him early on, like lap 3 or 4, I think it was last week. Ended up blowing up his motor and having it in the night very early in this one. So that is one of those games you got to play as a driver given the push, is you just got to be careful. You got to be aware of your temperature gauges at all times. And now with this new digital dash, it's a new place to look on the dash for these guys. And yeah, maybe it's digital now. You don't have to really read the gauge, but at the same time, you still got to find it, and you still got to be aware of what it is.
You take a look on board with the number 89, machine back quick. He's doing the heavy lifting right now, and he got 7 inside of the 88, and you saw the push to turn 3, just enough momentum to do exactly that. Prep to jump down to the inside. He almost got him clear, came up a little bit short, and once again, this time by the dark horse, number 7 Chevrolet, going to keep himself right there on the door. Spectacular racing, already 13 laps in of 60 on the night. That lap led going to go to Jorgensen topside by 3 1,000ths of a second.
I think we've seen exactly what you want to see in a chase race, especially the new beginning of a new round, second round, only 2 races in this round. So I think you're seeing a very conservative field right now. Just everybody just trying to find their place. If they can move up a spot or two, they'll do it. If not, they're just content to ride. You can see a bunch of those guys towards the back, the Sean Bounties, Andrew Berger, Casey Malone, even the 48 of Josh Ball as well. All those chase contenders, 4 of them at least, all the way in the back of the field right now, just trying to, basically ride, log these laps, get closer to the end. Probably about another 10 to 15 laps anyway, so maybe some guys even trying to push it to lap 30 so they can make it on a one stop. So we'll see exactly how this will all play out, but right now I think we're seeing exactly what we need to see as a very conservative, unlike what we saw in the truck race earlier on.
Yeah, and you can tell, and it's funny, we talked all the time, and we've mentioned it throughout the season. We also talk about it sometimes, Eddie, when we go and we do the IROC races, which after next week, second to last race on this ISS championship, but it is the Rod Car finale. The week after that, it's a double feature finale with the IROC championship race, followed by the Ice Super Speedway championship race. We always talk about how the IROC cars are easier to handle, the trucks are easier to handle. They look a lot more comfortable in these cars where they spend most of their time in.
No, they definitely do, and maybe this draft package a little more stable for these guys. Of course, we saw a few weeks there, where especially at Talladega during the course of the season, that when you got down on that basically that fourth line on the trial, we saw a lot of cars just really get really loose, even some of them by themselves. So it definitely looks a lot more stable for these drivers here tonight. And you see Paul Servant actually have to duck out of line, go up to the top side. He's going to fall way, way, way to the back, and I think part of this could have been just him maybe overheating at this point of the race, so he's going to fall way back. Chubba Chaburko forcing his way in between a couple of chasers right there, moving Bucilia all the way up to the top side to fall back, and he'll lose a bunch of spots. But how about this? Up front, Andy and I and Matt Quick looking for his first lap lead of the night.
Yeah, and we did talk about how Servant had been pushing a lot of people, so he falls back a significant margin. Jorgensen tried to take it away, but by 1/100th of a second, Matt Quick is going to get the lap lead. We went on over the 89 machine, doing a lot of work on the inside of the racetrack, pushing, and is now going to have an opportunity. Very rarely do you get to make up positions on the inside of the racetrack, but if somebody jumps up from the bottom to the top, the more formal passing lane, if you will, if you can dig on the inside, and especially if you see them partake in a mutiny, if you will. That's about the second or third time, Andy, tonight we've seen guys up front in the middle lane disagree, go 3 wide, and both times I think it's cost everybody involved a position. So with that, Matt Quick jumped on the opportunity, and it's Wofford behind him. They try to pull a little bit of a gap at 1.5 car lengths.
Yeah, they got a little bit of a gap going right now. Separation, though, is what it is. Back behind the 88-64 of Alex Hallinar, just not quite to his bumper. Allows those 2 guys to pull out now, 2 car lengths ahead on that outside lane, but you'll see them start to close the gap once again here, especially right here off of turn 2. You can see that 88, a little bit of side draft. We're going to pinch those guys down to that yellow line right now. And how about Brandon Chaburko making his way up from 20th last time around up to 8th? So he's been forcing his way 3 wide at some moments and some points of this race, but he's finding himself now inside the top 10 and he's looking on the high side, trying to help out that top side. And only 5 cars strong up there, but that's more than enough to get them up to the front. They just have to be a little bit closer right now.
Into the outside to 13 of Kelly Dahl. Is Chevrolet going to go on a run and went for one of the first times tonight. Mark Jorgensen Jr. is pushing somebody. He's second in line to the outside. Just behind him is Hallinar and Brandon Chaburko, who is 3 wide for 15th. About 10 laps to go from this point. He is right up there in the conversation. And on the back bumper, the number 64, they'll go 3 wide around the lap traffic. The number 28 is Shane McEachin, going to go 1 lap down from 24th. And then we'll have 23 of the 24 cars that started this race still scored on the lead lap, 21 of which are in this lead pack. It goes from P1 back to that number 21 spot, just 1.2 seconds of differential.
Yeah, it is, and that's the whole point about being these guys towards the back, the chasers. They have to be, or what they want to do is be back there and just kind of ride, but at the same time, they have to be careful because a little slip up, a check up maybe, the wrong move, they could easily lose the draft as well. So being back there, it's fine if you want to stay out of the fray of things, but at the same time, you have to be careful you don't lose touch with the pack, because if this has the tendency right now, at least to look, that it could go green flag for a very long time. You don't want to get caught. How about the 3 at Chaburco now? Going into the middle to help out the 88. They're going to go 3 wide for the race lead into 3.
The C's part to turn number 3 for Mark Jorgensen Jr. The push from Brandon Chaburco. Discarded to the outside is Kelly Dahl in the 64 of Hallinar. And in the drag race out of turn 4, somehow Mark Jorgensen Jr. is going to lead lap 20.
Yeah, what a move right there by the 3 to come up there. It almost looked like the 88 was going to be sitting duck in the middle lane all by himself, but Brandon Chaburco got the run, got the push, got him up there, and he actually got him to the race lead that time. And how about the start for him in 15th? He's up to 5th now. Last time by, he's third in line on the top side, trying to get the job done up there as well. The 88 going to drop down now in front of Matt Quick. Going to put him back in control of that bottom lane. Now Brandon Chaburco has his opportunity, and he's got the 71, give him the push.
And the 71 Target Chevy of Christian Peterson started this race back at 15th. He's been on the move. We've already talked about how Brandon Chaburco's gone up. He started at 20th and runs the 23, the 51. They get together. Altman's out of shape. They hang on. Close call.
Yeah, they hang on to it. Great job by both those drivers to keep it in there, guys behind them, staying on the throttle, just getting to them, getting them the push, keep the speed up, try not to lose the draft to the front pack, and try not to separate themselves from the rest of them. But yeah, some very interesting right there, some contact, and could have been a big one there, but a great job by both drivers involved.
Not all that far away from a trip down to pit road. We're 22 laps in of 60 on the night, and the constants at the front of the field begin to become the staple mark names. Jorgensen leads the inside. Chaburco leads the outside. Still with the likes of guys who started up front that are still up there, including Rodney Watford, Corey Henry, Tom Moustakis, Rod Flag. A little bit further back, those last two names started P4 and 6. They run 10 and 11 right now. All that matters in this, you can get the bonus points for leading a lap and in a championship battle. And we always talk about how every point matters in it, but you would almost think maybe hanging it back a little bit might be a little bit of a safer idea than going for all those bonus points. Of course, those that aren't in the championship have nothing to lose, and they want to lead all 60 laps, so they're going to be up front and going at it. But in the long-term picture of things, nothing matters all that much right now. You got to get the pit stops, you got to get to that point without problems, and you need to get through that cycle without problems.
That's what it's all about. We know how pit road, how tough it can be. You can see a bunch of drivers now dropping down to the bottom here. Pit road's going to get busy here on lap number 23, so it looks like this is possibly a two-stop race here. As you see a whole bunch of them heading down pit road. The majority of leaders, they'll stay out, and the battle up front still continues with the 88 and the 3.
Penalty inbound for the Cheerios Ford Fusion. Rod Flag missed the commitment cone to the outside. Did get on the asphalt. He's going to get his tires into fuel, but he is going to have a long-term penalty, at least 15 seconds, I would imagine, in the box if he does get hammered for that infraction. And without the assistance of a caution flag, you can see him revving the engine there and all the backfire out the right-hand side. That's effectively going to take the 26 out of this contest unless we get a caution flag. Those that came down with them, though, Haggerty, Dahl, and Aaron Evans, they're going to get out of pit road relatively well. And together, those three cars race off to turn one. Your leaders by this time, and nobody else ducks down. But with pit stops coming 6 laps shy of the halfway point, by that number, you'd have to make it 2 stops to get the distance.
Yeah, they still, like I said, they still have making 2 stops. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody further back in the field, like the 34 or the 4, even the 48 of Josh Ball, if they have enough, if they've been able to half throttle this thing and have enough to make it to the halfway point. Not sure if they do. I think the 48 actually might be heading down pit road this next time. So we'll see how it goes when they come off of turn number 4 this time. But how about Chaburco looking for the race lead? Not able to clear the 88 just as of yet. Just 2 cars on the outside, just not quite enough to push that 3 out to the lead, able to drop down in front right now. Off of turn number 4, looks like a couple more drivers. No! One was looking like he was going to come down. He had to slow up.
That
That's
didn't
Glenn
work.
Hendrick.
He was trying to come down, and at the last second, I think he bailed out of that one. And It was close, and I think it was a smart move by the 21 of Hedrick all by himself. He thought about it. He loses tons of time, though, and now loses touch with the pack. He might be forced to take a splash and go, or I don't think he'll be able to get what I think most people are going to do, which would be 2 tires and fuel and get out in time. We'll see. I think that in the end of it all, staying out, losing time is going to be better than speeding on the pit road and taking a 15-second penalty. We'll find out.
Hey, definitely. He's going to be way off the pace. He's going to be way off in the back of the pack. He's going to need a caution. But, wow, look at this. Look at this group. Everybody coming down pit road, 3-4 wide, coming to the entrance. And somehow they all make it on pit road. It doesn't look like no penalties, but yet they're still 3 wide on the pit road.
Yeah, just because it's pit stops does not mean they're not trying to get stuff. They're beating and banging into the boxes. Brandon Chiburko slides in. The 71, the 92. They drive each other to the fence. Right side tires up for the Goodwrench Chevrolet. 4 tires for Brandon Chiburko. Many of the other drivers going to take just right sides only. And in that huge group of cars who did a marvelous job of all getting on pit road, Raymond, Ray Rittenauer are going to be way out in front of everybody else. Matt Quick, followed by Wofford, Henry, and Osborne, top 5 out of the pits.
Yeah, it looks like actually the 34 might have missed his box there. He had to just come right out of pit road, so not what Sean Bounty needed right there for his go at the championship here. And, of course, the rookie who got his win early in the season and a great job in the 3 Daytona races to get himself in locked in points and gets himself into round number 2. But now he's going to have a big, tough go-around to try to make it to the end of this one and try to get himself where he needs to be to battle for a win. He will come back down pit road this time. No friends, no help for him. The rest of the field, they're working their way off of turn number 4, especially that 89, Matt Quick now looking for the race lead as they come across the start-finish line this time. Actually, it looks like Wofford able to get around and put that 7 back to the top of the board.
Yeah, back at familiar places, and Sean Bounty is in his stall this time by the Sprite Chevrolet. He's going to get his service. Obviously, he needed to come back down to get fuel. You can't just abandon that stop, but to go back out there, he needed some fresh fuel in that car, and it is effectively, he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap, which is good news. That happens at an intermediate racetrack. You're done in that regard. You're going to be laps down. So he's still in a spot where if a caution comes out, he'll be on the lead lap. He'll be back in the pack. Maybe we can try some strategy a little bit later on down the line to actually try to be able to battle for the race win. But in the overall scheme of things, his night not done, but it does take a big hit after he was having a great run early.
Yeah, he'll take a huge hit on that one after at the wrong board there. He started 16th, but he was able to move his way up to the field a little bit early. Then it looked like he wanted to go back and protect the way he was running, but right there, a huge mistake, like you said. A caution's going to be what he needs to get himself back in. It might be a possibility, maybe if they can communicate, he might be able to hook up with the 26 or Rod Flag. Rod Flag, of course, off the pace as well, too, with his penalty that he had when he came down pit road. But you can see exactly what green flag pit stops do. If you look through all the field, Evan, they're all bunched up in a bunch of little groups.
Yeah, single file, in fact. They do have a little bit of groups, as you mentioned, that they broke off into the lead pack, 6 cars in line. Behind them, 4 cars in line, 3 to the outside, 1 to the inside, trying to get around each other. But with that being said, pit stops always tend to spread things out and calm everybody down. And I think a big reason for that, and we'll take cross flags this next time by. But if that was the max they could do on fuel, and with Bounty missing the stall, coming right back in for fuel, it would tell me you're not going to be able to go 36 laps on the next round. So that means you do have a pit stop due up inside the final 10 laps of this race, which would be the make or break moment.
Yeah, and I mean, do you see some guys maybe because of how big this track is and how you won't lose a lap if you're in a fairly decent spot? Do we see some of these guys maybe pit with 15 to go or 20 to go? And try their go at it that way. And then, if they can do it with 3 or 4 cars, they might be able to get lined up and make up a lot of time, too. So we'll see if anybody plays that strategy or if they're all going to just play it safe and be out there. But we are at that halfway point, Evan.
And we crossed the So, as always, let's take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the leader in motorsport simulations and an official sim racing partner of NASCAR. Ronnie Wofford leads the way in the number 7 machine to Corey Henry P2, and you see the lead draft. They're starting to mix it up a little bit. The number 89 of Matt Quick in 3rd at the moment, and it looks like the 94 Basilia going to challenge for that spot. He was scored behind Berger P5. He was 6th. Peterson was 7th, Josh Ball in 8th, 9th for Halladar, and Jared Haggerty in 10th position, P10, the first position that is behind the 9-car breakaway, as looks like the 94 battles for the race lead at the conclusion of 31.
That he does. Currently in the 11th spot, that's Kelly Dahl. Brandon Chaburko sits 12th right now, 13th to Glenn Hedrick. Ramon Evans in 14th. 15th to the 4 of Paul Servant. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in 16th. Jason Ullmans in the 17th position. Tom Moustakis 18th. 19th, Casey Malone. And Rod Flagg currently runs 20th.
21st position, final car on the lead lap is Sean Bounty. Talked about the pit road mishaps. 22nd, 1 lap down to Ray Rittenauer. 23rd, 1 lap down is Larry Camp. And also 1 lap down in 24th position is Shane McKeechin. It has been clean and green since the drop of the green flag. All the cars that started tonight's race still out on the racetrack. 21 of them remain on the lead lap. Outside lane, the Season 1 iSuper Speedway champion, now 5 seasons later, primed and ready to go for his second one, and he wants to get the win and punch his ticket to the finale in Florida tonight. And he makes the move to the race lead, 33 laps in, the McDonald's Ford Fusion to the point.
Great job by him to get that advantage. Now it's up to the 71 of Christian Peterson now to get up there, along with the 42 of Andrew Berger. Those are 2 guys we talked about that sat in the back there at the beginning of the race. Actually, 3 of them now up in this top group here. Frank Basilia, Andrew Berger, and the 48 of Josh Ball. Now you find these guys, great pit stops for them. Get some guys up here now in this front group, so they're getting the job done. They figured it's getting to that halfway point. It's time to go. It's time to go up to the front, and they've done just that and put themselves in prime position to win race number 1.
And past the halfway point, we'll step aside for a brief moment and remain LSRTV non-stop so you don't miss a moment of the action. Peterson and 42 of Berger work the outside. They're all chasing Frank Basilia. He'll lead coming around to 26 laps to go in feature race number 19. It is the opening race of the round of 6 in the Talladega round. And the iSuper Chase will step aside to be back in just a moment. You're watching LSRTV's continuing coverage of the iSuperspeedway.com racing series on iRacing Live.
For iRacing to get Le Mans is huge. I mean, this is a unique event, a unique track where, you know, we get experience on it, and it's 8 miles in length, 4-minute lap time in a GT car. So, you know, even if you're here for an hour of testing, that's only 15 laps, and you're only going to see the corner 15 times that day. The first section going through the Dunlop area is pretty unique. You know, it's got elevation change and off camber. Then you go down Mulsanne into the chicanes, and you know, the straights are unbelievably long. It's a tricky track, and you know, every year I come here, this is my being every time.
We've wanted to add Le Mans to iRacing for a long time, and we've really been working hard towards it. Really, things only came together in the last week leading up to this race, so it was a real scramble to put everything together. The majority of Le Mans is public roads. So when they're preparing for the 24-hour race, it's really the only time that we can visit to laser scan and photograph the track so that we can recreate it in iRacing. We work closely with the ACO to get essentially exclusive access to the facility and everything that we needed to get the laser scanning and photographic reference that we need to create the track. We were very fortunate to be at Le Mans at the most important time of the year and gain that experience of being there. And we're going to really do the best we can to put that into our work and making sure that the Le Mans in iRacing is the best Le Mans, the most exciting and accurate recreation of the track possible.
Welcome back live to the Talladega Super Speedway as we take a new race leader at lap number 37. It is now the turn for Josh Ball. He'll go to the point with 23 laps to go. He's the other driver looking to become a multi-time champion, one of 6 names, along with Casey Malone, Andrew Berger, Sean Bounty, Frank Basilia, and Christian Peterson, who remain into the round of 6 of the Ice Super Chase, 3 of which going to go home, the other 3 to fight for a championship in Daytona based on who finishes the best out of the next 2 weeks here tonight, and the next week as well, Friday evening back here at Talladega for the final cumulative event on the year. But the Cobalt Chevrolet breaks out in front after we've seen and gone through cleanly one cycle of green flag pit stops. We're happy that you're joining us tonight with iRacing Live at LSRTV. Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, Topsada, along with Cisco Scaramuza. Andy, a great race so far. Very contrastedly different to what we saw in the trucks earlier tonight, where there was, I think it's safe to say, a little bit more contact. And it's been very aggressive at the same time. The big question mark is, you still need to come back down pit road. Do you run it out of fuel and come down? Or, as the point that you mentioned earlier, with 21 cars in the lead lap and everybody kind of spread out in packs, do we see a couple of people try a little bit of a short pit?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if we do that. Maybe guys outside the top 15 right now that are 8 seconds back off the lead. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Jason Altmans, Tom Moustakis, all those names that we saw towards the front of the field early in this race, and now they find themselves with not a bad pit stop, but just a slower pit stop, find themselves 8 seconds back. So all the other little groups, they've caught up, though, up towards the front of the field, Evan. Got ourselves a battle with about 15 cars now up in this front pack, all within 9/10 of a second of each other. So it's definitely heated up here after this green flag pit stop. Everybody able to catch back up, and we form up 2 lines now down the back street. It is Willie. He does.
Getting the job done. Just talking about the night that Ronnie Wofford has had. Already got a checkered flag on the night. Wants to go 2 for 2. He is one of the names coming into this championship. Now 3 races ago, and we went to the Daytona round to kick it off with the first 3 races. Those 3 now behind us. 3 remain, 2 in this round, and then the 1 race winner-take-all finale in 2 weeks' time. When we showed up at Daytona a couple of weeks back, the 7, one of the favorites. He is so good at that racetrack. Equally now beginning to become as dominant right here at Talladega as well, and not in this fight anymore. So his job, place boiler, get as many checkered flags as he can. He did that already earlier tonight, looking for a second on the evening, trying to sweep the night. I don't think he'll lead the next 19 laps consecutively to the end of this race, but he's in a good spot to be able to have a shot at it.
Oh, he definitely is. You want to be in control of one of the lines, whether it's the top side or the bottom side. Right now, he's on that bottom side with a couple car lengths now separating him in that top side with the 12 now of Corey Henry up there on the outside lane. He's fallen back to a battle with the 3rd position now with Andrew Berger. So Josh Ball doing a great job as well, keeping that 7 up towards the front. Trying to battle back just a bit here as Christian Peterson gets that back bumper of Corey Henry and try to give him the advantage now as they come up on some lap traffic here. The 34, Sean Bounty, one of our chase contenders, find himself down a lap here in just a moment, along with Rod Flagg, who had that pit road penalty. So these 2 drivers now going to go 1 lap down, and not boding well, I guess, for race number 1 for that 34.
3 wide, 34, 26 to the outside. That's Sean Bounty and Rod Flagg, the last 2 drivers on the lead lap in 20th and 21st position. That will now become the battle for the Lucky Dog position. It will be left with 19 cars on the lead lap still to this point. Inside, starting to pull a little bit by 2 car lengths. If they go the same distance that they did the last time on fuel, we're 9 laps away from the final cycle of pit service.
Yeah, definitely, and already hearing some strategy calls that might be playing out in that last one. Do you take 2 tires? Do you take none? Fuel only? Do you fill the tank all the way to the top? There's going to be a lot of different strategies down there, but at the same time, we saw how long it took for the group or for the pack to form back up. That's why I say, is there going to be some guys here as we get closer and closer to the end of this thing? We're under 20 to go, 17 this time by. I mean, how long do they wait?
It sounds like they're not going to really come in early, I guess, and they're going to ride this one out, if you will, until at least 10 to go. Maybe that's going to be the number. Only 2 cars on the outside still fighting. Henry and a 71 of Peterson. I'm curious if stops, or if they're just trying to get to that point, they don't want to mess it up now.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it just ride. You're in this position. A good pit stop is what it's going to take to get you into that final push there to the end. So a good pit stop gets you maybe with those leaders, or maybe the opportunity to be leading this thing once the cycle goes through. So you got to be smart. You got to be patient. I think a lot of these guys towards the later stages of the top 10 here, that's what they're thinking, is they know in a couple of laps we'll be heading down a pit road. So why force the issue? Why push it? Or why even get out on the outside lane when you can't?
Still no action. Talked about groups, so on and so forth. Well, there are 15 cars, I think, at this point that are in the battle for the race win, and it's all essentially now become a 15-car lead pack. 16th and 9 seconds behind, 17th, 18th, and 19th, all 10 seconds behind, is Jason Altman's, Mark Jorgensen, Tom Moustakis, and Casey Malone. We're hearing over the radio, Andy, that the drivers are not planning to take any tires. A splash and go leaves no opportunity for those guys to pull something out of the hat that makes up 10 seconds unless we get a caution. And at that point, I think that's all they're hoping for.
Yeah, it could be all that they're hoping for, and you never know where it's going to come, if it's even going to come. What a great race it's been. Green flag since the drop of it early in this one, 46 laps ago. So these guys, definitely a total difference from that truck race we saw a couple hours ago, where it just seemed like they had no control. It seemed to suck up rate. The trucks just seemed loose off the corner. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff looked different. These cars here look so stable. These guys are focused. They know what's on the line here for that championship. So everybody's still minding their business here as the laps continue to wind down. 15 to go.
Inside of 15 to go, we come off of the final turn. Pit road will remain quiet. It's a waiting game at this point. And I think by now, as a charge on the outside, everybody else thinking about pit stops, they're falling asleep. Corey Henry going to get a push to the race lead. Can he bring Peterson with him? No. And all alone, topside and abandoned is Christian Peterson.
Yeah, I think he just realized that also and said, see you later, guys. I'm going to the back, apparently, because now he's going to fall back third, fourth. It's just going to continue to happen here until somebody jumps up there to help out that 71. It's just definitely puts him in a peculiar position. But that's the problem, being that guy, pushing that guy to the race lead. If you push him too far, it ends up putting yourself in jeopardy. You're almost going to back off and just keep them side by side for a while.
Yeah, and that 71 machine said his goodbye, and he knew he was going backwards. He was able to duck in line and find himself in the correct position when it came down to it at all. And, now he finds himself still in the lead pack. Too wide, though. Everybody got single filed out. We figured we had hit that point, and now 5 cars going to go to the outside. And Peterson thought about jumping up in front until he realized it was the 3 Chevrolet and figured if he cut him off, he might end up at the inside wall. So the 3, look at the run on the outside. 197 miles an hour on the outside of the racetrack, and 200 to turn 3. Brendan Chaburko from 9th to 2nd in about 2 turns.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable. But you know what? That was, too, a lot of it. It wasn't so much that that 21 was up on his back bumper. A lot of side draft involved in that as well. And we all know that 3 loves to side draft, and probably one of the best ones at it out there. So some of the drivers heading down pit road that last time as they came off of turn number 4. It looks like Jared Haggerty, the 26 of Rod Flagg, a couple other drivers as well heading down. So some of the drivers outside the top 10 coming down pit road, while the rest of them stay out at least one more time.
Yeah, you're now 50 laps in, going to be 49 completed the next time around. They went just about to 25. The 30 goes too low. 3 wide up the middle. That's trying to split the gap as Corey Henry. It looked like a good move into the turn, but he's going to squeeze down, and there's a lot of movement in turns 3 and 4. Starting to get all out of shape. Here they come, pit side. Josh Ball going to come down. They try to get a load up. Also in pit road is Andrew Berger and Frank Basilia.
Yeah, all 3 teammates, so that's a good call by them. They saw everything going on with them up ahead of them. They said, let's go now. Well, they went down pit road. Everybody looks like on pit road. safely. They'll get the service done, probably just a splash and go for those guys, but at least their teammates will come out back on the track together, and they should give them an opportunity. If they can get lined up pretty quick, get up to speed, they might have an opportunity to be the only three up to the front.
And they come out 3 wide. You want to talk about an even pit stop. So now, does everybody else come in immediately after? They are coming off for the final turn. And with that being said, the guys on the outside can't possibly get down, can they? 8-car thinks about it. He's not going to do it. Couple of cars come in from the back of the lead draft down pit side this time. You got Alex Hallinar, Matt Quick, Ray Rittenauer.
Yeah, some more teammates involved there, so it's definitely a strategy game at this point for these guys. Just trying to work together as a team and get them an opportunity. They're the best opportunity they can when they come off pit road, at least. Exactly what you're seeing so far in the first 2 rounds of that. But the rest of the leaders still going at it right now up towards the front of the field, and they're trying to probably decide, I would say, with only 10 laps. Got to come pretty quickly here if they want an opportunity. One little mistake on pit road, they're done.
It's make or break time. Inside of the final 10 laps, we come to turn 4 again, and still not down pit road. Now, 26 laps the first time. If you're going to go to the next 26, if you're not coming in the next time, I think that you're going to be right on that brink, because 26 was the magic number for the majority of the field.
Well, we did see Sean Downey do almost 28.
Yeah, you could push it, but the problem is 28 not going to make it. You need to come down with help. I don't know if you're going to get that many guys to push that far. We're going to find out, though. I think the guys that are already pitted might be better off because they're already hooked up and they've got tons of momentum, so they got to get going.
Yeah, they definitely do. You got to give it to those guys that came down. Like I said, the earlier you come down, the more opportunity you have to get lined up, get up to speed, and possibly... Oh, there's this caution now. Caution on the speedway, and pit stops aren't even all complete.
Caution flag at 8 laps to go. And now, depending on how far these guys were pushing it, it'll be close if they can even make it under the caution flag to get around for service. We'll see when pit road opens, but that's a bad situation. You'll see the 48 of Josh Ball. He's got a lot of speed, and he and his pack catch up on the 89 and the 64. The 48 blocks the inside, and they just ran out of room. That's a big accident. Frank Basilia, championship hopeful, involved in that accident. That's going to put him way behind and almost put him in a winter die situation just as he was 1 week ago. But the caution flag is out, and now those drivers that pitted should be able, obviously, to stay out under the yellow, and I don't think those guys that are still out there will be able to. So those guys that have completed service should be able to go to the point. We'll see.
Yeah, they should be able to go to the front. How about the 34, Sean Bounty, being in place for the lucky dog right there? He's going to get his lap back, give him an opportunity to better that 18th position he's currently shown in right now. So, yeah, you're right. These leaders up front, they have to come down. They have to get their service done. That's going to allow everybody to basically rotate up through, and that's going to, I believe, put that 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Towards the front of the field there. So give the 88, who was about 10 seconds back before that second round of pit stops happened. Look at him now. He's going to possibly be your race leader.
So those that were in front of the field going to come down pit road this time. The number 12 is in. He takes a splash of fuel. He gets back out on the racetrack, and he's digging. Corey Henry not going to win the race off of pit road. That's going to be for the 7 Rodney Watford, I think, at the line. Maybe Corey Henry still beat him out of the pit road. We will find out. And again, all of that going on as those drivers who we expected to stay out on the racetrack, Andy, the majority of them were in that accident. So that's not going to happen. And what could have been really bad news for the guys up front might just not be all that bad after all. Josh Ball, though, who completed service, and while he was in that accident per se, was able to get out of it much better off than, say, Frank Basilia as well. And he will go to the race lead with Andrew Berger behind him, Jared Haggerty, the top 3, I believe, the ones that stay out. And then Corey Henry going to be just behind in, I think, 5th position with the 7 Ronnie Wofford beating him off of the pit road for 4th.
Yeah, great job by the 48, 8, and 42 as well. They're going to have prime real estate for the closing lap, so you want to be up towards the front of the field. At the end of it, they have the opportunity now, and the only problem is they're going to be starting on the opposite lane, so it may give them the opportunity maybe to block, but at the same time, it gives them the opportunity, if they time it right, to get each other help, maybe somebody dropping in front of them or not. And able to work together here to get to the end and try to get one of them at least a win.
Now we wait to see just how many laps left we're going to have to do at Talladega. This time by regardless of if it's 5 or if there's even less, with 4 laps to go. As the lights stay on, and if we look for maybe a 4-lap to go restart, we can guarantee that this is going to be the final time the pace car is going to duck down off of the racetrack to pit road. One final restart to determine possibly a ticket punch to the next round, and Josh Ball would love very much for that to happen in the Lowe's Cobalt Chevrolet. He leads the way. We'll step away very briefly under the commercial here, and we'll go LSRTV nonstop, so you don't miss a moment of the action. Back in just a second from Talladega Superspeedway. You watch the iSuperspeedway.com racing series iSuper Chase on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. We're back live as the sun begins to set from Talladega Superspeedway, and one opportunity, and a great opportunity, about to set here as well to put yourself in a position to fight for a championship in 2 weeks' time. Just going to be 4 laps left to go in feature race number 19, the first race of 2 in the round of 6 on the iSuper Chase. 6 drivers, including the man that's going to bring us to the green flag, Josh Ball, trying to vie for a spot in a finale in Florida 400 in 2 weeks' time as he searches for his second iSuperspeedway championship. A win would automatically get him, and he would not have to deal with next week's carnage and possibly heartbreak at Talladega, which will be the go-or-go-home race for the thing that is guaranteed is you're not going to get another shot at this. What a final restart, Andy, on the night.
That final restart, this is going to be good here, winding down with the laps. Just going to be 4 to go when they get the green. So look out, boys. Here they come. Going to see some guys here towards the back trying to push their way, maybe 3 wide action, too.
The pace car makes a sharp left-hand turn down to the inside. Ball and Berger, two of the most familiar names on the iSuperspeedway.com circuit. on the front row. Haggerty, Wofford, Henry inside the top 5. Traburco, Peterson, Edrick, Servant, and Osborne through 10th. Green flag in the air. 4 laps to go. The outside going to get the jump to turn number 1. And can he get clear for Berger? Trying to squeeze down to the inside. And he might have it for a brief moment. No! Contact behind them. All out of shape.
Yeah, they are. The 4 of Servant's actually going to get pushed up out of the racing groove right there for a moment. He'll be able to fall back in line. Everybody's still trying to get up to speed as well, too. Outside lane, that's Andrew Berger. He's getting pushed by the 12 of Corey Henry. Josh Ball trying to hang on to the bottom side. He's got Haggerty just behind him, turn 3.
Oh, they're beating and banging. There's the contact. The 12, the 23. They go high. They're going to wreck behind. Final turn. Caution flag flies out of the final corner. And coming to 3 laps to go. Josh Ball going to be in front of Andrew Berger by half a car length. He will punch his ticket to Daytona in 2 weeks' time in search of a second championship. He moves on.
Wow, what a great job by both of those. I thought for sure the 42 would have dropped down in front of him when he had the opportunity, but he didn't. They decided, both of them, to lead a lane out there. It really didn't matter who won the race as long as one of them did as far as the team aspect goes. So we'll have to talk to those guys, obviously, here in the moment, but that might have been the call. It's just each of them stay on the line and lead the way and see what happens.
You take a look at the replay now. There was a lot of contact, that incident that most definitely could have been avoided. But again, these guys are going for it. Looks like the 12 machine got hit by the 23 on the inside of the racetrack. Haggerty loosens Corey Henry up just a little bit. Comes back down, a little bit aggressive, gets him in the door. They both went up to the fence, and they might have been okay at that point. But then the 23 of Jared Haggerty up on the racetrack was not able to get himself back under control. And there's heavy contact on the outside of the racetrack. The 23, huge airborne accident off of the final turn, and it was a half a car length advantage for Josh Ball at the end of that one. And he's going to be able to get the job done. He'll move on and fight for that second career championship.
Yeah, 5 drivers for 2 spots, one with an opportunity to win the thing, to get themselves in securely, and then the rest of the 4 will be battling for 1 spot for points. So, I mean, that's a huge deal coming into next week. And next week's a cumulative race. A lot can go wrong. A lot can happen in that race as all. So we'll see exactly what happened on that one. But other than that, how about a couple of guys making a rebound? Casey Malone, a top 10 with that one. Sean Bounty, a recovery from 19th to 11th. So that's going to help his opportunity going for the championship as well. It's basically going to leave Frank Busilia with a must-win situation next week. Everybody else, pretty good job, pretty good points night for him. So we'll see exactly what happens in 1 week's time right back here, but a cumulative format to settle who goes for the championship in the final week.
Bad news for Sean Bounty. He's not going to be able to limp himself home to the finish in this one because he does obviously lose the engine after all of that, and he'll be down pit side. He's going to be in a terrible position going into next week's race. Frank Brasilia with the 19th place result. He'll be in a very bad position as well. And again, it is already difficult enough talking about cutting 10 drivers after last week's race, sending many championship caliber teams home. To go from 6 to 3 equally as painful, you knock out half of the drivers, and now not only are you buying for just 3 spots, Andy, but back in a position that we saw before. Frank Basilia had to win to get in. He basically did that in the final race of the opening round, and you're going to have 5 drivers with just 2 spots remaining. As 48, he's already guaranteed to be a championship contender when we go to Daytona Beach, Florida in 2 weeks' time.
That's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I wish we could race next week's race right now. This is, I love the intensity of this with the Midway racing itself, just the fact of the unknown that can happen at these races, and then you make it a whole chase scenario, and it's so much can happen, and you can see how quickly a solid race. You look at Frank Basilia in the 94, how quickly his race, how well he was doing up towards the front of the field, and then just how quickly it all ended, and puts himself in a must-win next week.
The white flag is in the air from Talladega. There is not going to be a green-white checker finish. There's Going to be no late race fireworks in this one. Ball, Burger, Wofford, 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack as they pace at just 80 miles an hour. Much more tame than what we saw just a couple of minutes ago. They're coming down at a turn number 2 for the final time on the evening. 16 trucks going to finish this one on the lead lap of the total of 24 that took the green flag at the start of the evening. Good finishes for Peterson, good finishes for Chiburko. Those were some of the names up there in the conversation for the better part of this, but I think the best driver getting out of here without the win is going to be Andrew Berger, evidently. So Josh Ball going to move on. Berger with a P2, and then I believe behind them Peterson with the P4 are going to be, after race number 1, the 3 drivers going to be scored for Daytona.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, even for Andrew Berger, just a solid run next week with the advantage he's got right now, and that with that second place finish, the points that he's going to have, he's in a pretty good position. Another solid top 5 next week could get him that points position without getting a win. So it's all about this first race, getting a great start to that round, especially only 2 races involved in it. You gotta be good both races in order to get your opportunity. And so far, Josh Ball, teammate, he'll be in, and Andrew Berger in a prime spot to get the other one.
Final time, he'll round through the tri-oval after starting in 11th position. Found himself in the right spot at the right time. A short pit, a caution, thrust to the race lead, and he hangs on like checkered flag. Josh Ball wins it from Talladega. And with that being said, he is going to punch his ticket into the championship round. On to the next one for the 48 machine as he tries to vie for a championship. He'll still race hard next Friday night, don't doubt that. And he'll be equally as aggressive, but maybe a little bit less desperate than the other 5 drivers on the chase grid into that final race next week from Talladega in the round of 6. But regardless of what happens at that point, doesn't matter if he finishes first, doesn't matter if he finishes 41st, he is going to be on the championship grid when it comes down to that point. Josh Ball, your winner tonight. Let's take a look at your LSRTV full race results for feature race number 19. The 48 wins it. He moves on to the drivers in points in the championship grid, and Ronnie Watford comes home on the podium. We'll be trackside with those 3 in just a moment. Christian Peterson with a P4 finish. He'll be the 3rd highest driver in the rankings of the chase grid out of tonight, 2nd highest based on the points. And Brandon Chiburko, a decent result with a P5 result. Mark Jorgensen Jr. just behind, going to walk away in 6th spot. 7th for Glenn Hedrick. Dina Osborne with a 9th place result. Tom Oustakas comes home in P9, and 10th spot is Casey Malone.
Paul Servant, a good qualifying effort, gets him an 11th spot here tonight. Kelly Dahl finishes 12th. 13th goes to Larry Camp. Alex Hallinar will be the last car on the lead lap in 14th. 15th, John Bounty. Rod Flagg will finish in the 16th spot. 17th, Frank Busilia. Jared Haggerty finishes 18th. 19th, Shane McKeechin. 20th, that'll be Ramon Evans. And the rest of the field here, Ray Rittenauer, Corey Henry, Jason Allmans, and Matt Quick will round out your 24-car field we had here tonight. But it's that time because I think Evans already made his way to victory lane. And
yeah, he's going to burn it down on the front straightaway, and rightfully so. Josh Ball not only comes to victory lane for the 2nd time on the season, but forget about next week. He sets his sights on 2 weeks' time. Josh Ball winning tonight and punching his ticket to the championship round in Daytona Beach in 2 weeks' time. Going to have an opportunity to vie for his 2nd iSuperspeedway championship. Josh, congratulations side by side when the caution flag comes out at the end. That on top of a late race caution in a race that looked like it was going to be green all the way. That was a wild final 10 laps of action. Talk us through it.
Wow, yeah, that was crazy. You know, most of green flag a key, you know, getting those in practice so that we know where we had to be, where we were pitting down pit road, and there's a great bunch of teammates: Frank, Andrew, Jorgensen, Brandon, Casey Malone, and Tom. You know, everybody just communicating so well that we're able to, you know, get groups in and off pit road, and Jason Altmans, and you know, just able to stick together. And, you know, unfortunately we got caught up in that last caution, got I wasn't sure if we were going to make it through there, but you know what? We were able to, and luckily we were able to punch our ticket into the championship round.
How big of a relief is that for you guys? So, we've done this now a couple of years with this elimination style I Super Chase format, and we know that you never want to come from behind or have to come from behind and be in that scenario. Not that you don't think you could win next race, not that you think you're not going to be able to have the car to get the job done, but there's just so much of these races that are out of your control, and you could ask Andrew Berger the same thing, and he'll say, we could have won this, but the caution flags were out of his control. Sometimes you need to take advantage of the moment, and you guys are still going to be there next week, going to be on track, but you don't have to worry about that. You're already thinking about when we go back to Daytona International Speedway. How huge of a relief is this for you to not only have a good run, and Andrew Berger with a good run on points, Christian Peterson with a good run on points as well, but you don't have to deal with any of that math going into next week's race.
Well, I tell you what, ever since you guys been broadcasting, the chase, we've been every scenario. We've been in the point where we were good to go and didn't have to worry about it, and we've been down to the last round right before the championship, had to win and able to walk away with that and then win the championship. But last season, I just had no chance, and kind of just tried to drive for the best. And then this year is actually the toughest. We had 16 guys in the chase, and that's incredible. All those guys are great drivers, and it's lucky that I can beat one of them, not alone 16. So we didn't get any wins last one, but we were able to work our way in on points, and I just got to thank all my teammates there for that help, and just getting good finishes. But securing this win tonight here at Talladega, A main B main style, which really didn't happen, but it's definitely a big relief to know that get to go for the championship on my birthday in 2 weeks.
We look to see you back at that point. We also look to see you back here next Friday night to try to pad that win. And always about making it harder on the rest of the competition and sending a message for the week following that, Josh. Before we let you go, as always, I know you talked about a lot of them, the sponsors, the shout-outs. Is there anybody else that you want to thank from down here in Victory Lane, knowing that you're going for a title fight?
Oh, I just want to thank, LSRTV. You guys are awesome. You guys come on every week in, week out, and we'll be missing you next season. But, Rod Flag for putting on the league, Frank and all them for doing as much as possible, and Cisco in the background is telling me that we're not now, but that's okay. Anyway, just thanks for everybody out there that comes out week in and week out and races. Biggest things, I just love coming out here and have fun with all the guys.
Again, congratulations. It's been good being here week in and week out to watch you guys battle it out here late. I'll make a trip by Lowe's before we go racing in a couple of weeks' time. Congrats again, and we'll see you next week, but more importantly, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time when it's time to get down to business.
Thanks, Evan.
The winner tonight from Talladega, Josh Paul, going to get the job done. Trackside with the rest of the drivers that finish inside of the podium, beginning with second-place finisher Andrew Berger. Is Andy Kessler. And Andy, the flip side of a ticket punch to somebody who got so close and is still in a very good position, but has to be left wondering what could have been.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, half a car length when that caution flag came out. I mean, talk about that. Andrew Berger, that close to getting your win here tonight and getting yourself into that championship round in a couple weeks. But you got to be pretty happy. A second-place finish is basically without a win. That's the maximum points you can get, and it makes it all that much important next week. You fare best as far as the point standings go for the rest of the remaining of the drivers that are eligible. So you got to be pretty happy with the second place finish here tonight.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would have liked to get the W, of course, and on that last restart there, I was thinking about forcing it down there and taking the lead. I knew the caution was going to come out. It was almost definite. So, but I didn't want to wreck the whole field myself, so I didn't force it. So, but no, it was a good one by Josh. And yep, on the next week, and hopefully I can have a good points night and make it to the finale.
Well, that's what it's all about. Next week, a cumulative race right here at Talladega. We've seen that a few times now this season. It's all about consistency for 3 straight races. Talk about how much pressure that's going to be for you guys, the remainder of the chase guys going for that win, and how important each and every lap's going to be with all 3 of those races next week.
Yeah, I like to think of the cumulative as my bread and butter. I think I won the last one here in Daytona, so this time I hope to bring home the one in Talladega. Like you said, yeah, I mean, it's really about pointing each in the races, staying up front, staying out of trouble, and having a good pit stop in those races. Looking to do much of the same next week, and like you said, have a good points night and make the way into the finale.
What it's all about. You're able to get the job done here, help out the teammates. You guys were working well together as teammates. Now the 48's locked in. Now he can help one of your other guys there maybe get the win next week. Teammates all important with this when it comes down to restricted play racings. You guys were able to get the job done, finishing 1-2 here in this one. Well, Andrew, second place here tonight. Sponsor shout-outs. We'll give you that opportunity right now.
Yeah, like you said, just got to thank Josh and working with him and Frank and all the guys. And tough break there for Frank. Would have liked to seen him be up there, but hopefully he can rebound next week. And yeah, thank you guys for doing this broadcast each and every week. And of course, Rod and Frank and all the guys behind the scenes that keep this league going. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, there you have it. Second place finisher here tonight, Andrew Berger, getting the job done, coming home with the second place. Maximum points for the driver that could not come up with the victory. But now it's third place. I'll talk to him. He's right over here next to me. Rodney Wofford able to get the job done after picking up a victory. Earlier on in the night, Rodney Wofford was able to win the truck race right here at Talladega, and now he finds himself on the podium. Third place finish for you, Rodney. Talk about those last few laps. Kind of some fun racing, a lot of green flag pit stuff.
Yeah, it was some good racing there we had at the end. I was hoping for another green flag pit and hopefully come out front on that.
Yeah, you had an opportunity there. Obviously, a bunch of you guys stayed out, and then you had to come down pit road. Then it got a little kind of crazy there. Those last few laps, everybody going for it there, and a wreck towards the front of the field, able to propel yourself up to the third place finish here tonight. And moving on, obviously not in the contention for the championship with this one. You're able to come home with a third-place finish, obviously taking points away from those guys. That's what it's all about, and maybe possibly next week in the cumulative format, pulling out a victory for yourself too.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to go get a win next week. You know, was wanting it tonight, but it didn't happen. We got the truck win. That's good. Top three. Just caution didn't go our way, and it cost us, but came out good.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Able to get the job done. Third place finish. Trying to steal a win for you next week. Steal a win from these Chase guys here. So we only got 2 more weeks left on the schedule. Next week, though, Talladega. Rodney will give you this opportunity again here tonight. Twice in one night, you get the opportunity. Sponsor shout-outs. Who helps you get it done?
I got to give a shout out to Chris Bassini on the number 7 Viagra corner. Worked with me and kept a clean race.
That's what it's all about, and a great job by everybody here tonight and for yourself as well with a third-place finish. Good, congratulations again, and we'll see you next week right here from Dega.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good weekend.
There you have it, our third-place finisher getting the job done. Not a Chase contender, Evan, but still got the job done, and when it all comes down to it, he's taking points away from those guys like Christian Peterson and the likes of them that are behind him there for the finish of this one. So ultimately, a great job for Rodney Wofford and Andrew Berger, a second-place finish here tonight. That's exactly what he needed. If you didn't get the win, you got to get the most points as possible, and he did just that in second. So some guys looking next week, they got a must-win for themselves in a cumulative format. It's going to be a lot of fun for those 3 races.
Absolutely, and even with the fact that Josh Ball going to get the automatic ticket into Daytona, that doesn't take away from any of the drama next week. You could say, okay, well, instead of not knowing the fate of 6 drivers, we know the fate of 1. That might take away a little bit from the story, but I would disagree with that because now there's even less spots, and I think as good as a position Andrew Berger and Christian Peterson are in, they're not safe at all. They're going to be within 10, 15 points. One mistake, and that goes away. So it is going to be a pressure-packed scenario. You're going to have to decide. You're going to go and try to lead every single lap, or you're going to hang back sometimes, as we saw tonight. Cautions can come at very inopportune times for certain drivers. You can do everything that you can to win this race, and sometimes they just don't let you in. It's just not the way it works out. You have to have a combination of the two to find success.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and it worked out just perfectly, I think, for the 48 and the 42. Early on in the race, you saw him, other teammates in 94 of Frank Musilia in the back. They decided to go towards the back of the field. They did that. They rode back there over half of the race. Once the green flag pit stop started going, though, you saw that group. They just worked so well together. They got their pit stops done perfectly. They got back out on track and up to speed perfectly, and they found themselves in a prime position up towards the front of the field. So it all worked out for them, starting in the back, and you never know. But next week, with only the 25-lap feature races that we got, 3 of them, there is no time to lag back. You got to go, and that always makes the racing that much more fun.
And you are not going to want to miss that one, nor are you going to want to miss the week following. We got Talladega coming up next Friday. The week following, we go race it back at Daytona, and then we crown a 6th iSuperspeedway champion. Is it a new winner again, and would it be 6 seasons in a row with the first-time champion, or is that 6th piece of hardware going to be handed out? Going to be for the first time going to a driver who has already locked up a championship. Well, we know that one past-time champ is into the finale. Josh Ball wins tonight. He punches his ticket to the finale in Florida. $400K in 2 weeks' time. 5 drivers, 2 spots. That's next Friday night, right here on LSRTV. We hope that you join us then. We hope that you join us tomorrow night as well for LSRTV night on iRacing Live with the United Sim Racing Truck Series. Taking on more competition. You can find that information. You can find an entire broadcast schedule on our website at www.livesimracing.com. Also, give us a like on Facebook for the latest and up-to-date information. That'll be facebook.com/live@simracingtv. Until next time, on behalf of everybody at LSRTV LLC behind the scenes, I want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And on behalf of the broadcast crew, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Andy Kessler, and Cisco Scaramuza, congrats to Josh Ball. He's going chase racing, and he'll battle for a championship in 2 weeks. We'll find out who's going to join him next Friday night. Only 2 drivers going to be able to join him in Daytona. Find out right here with the action beginning with the Rod Car Truck Tour season finale at Homestead, followed by the second race of the Talladega round. It all starts at 8 o'clock Eastern right here on LSRTV. Until then, we bid you good night.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations and may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. LSRTV would like to thank its loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.